Welcome to HTML Crash Course for Beginners Part 1. And in this course, my name is Neomanyang. And in this course, we are going to learn everything you need to know about HTML as a beginner. So if you are a beginner who have never had any experience with HTML, then I think this is the right course or this is the right tutorial for you. And to begin with, in this tutorial, whatever we'll be doing, it will be a hands-on experience, and meaning that we will be coding as we are learning the same time. HTML means Hypertext Markup Language, and it's a front-end language which is used to develop the front end or to design the front end of a website. We have something called front-end design, and that's what the user interacts with, or a visitor or a page visit. When somebody visits your page, whatever he will interact with first or whatever he will see on your website, that's the front end of a website. And some languages or most of the languages which are used for front end development are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And HTML takes about 80% of the contents of the front end because it's normally responsible for displays. So any website that we will take, let's say we want to check for W3 schools as one of the websites. When you check at a website like W3 schools, so whatever you can see here, this is a front end, and what we have here is uh, this the user interface or the UI. We also call the front end as the UI or the user interface. So all what we need to get started for us to start building a project or to start working on HTML, first you will need a text editor. And one text editor we are going to use is Sublime Text. And a text editor, if you have no knowledge about text editor, you can check my tutorial on what's a text editor and how to install a text editor. The text editor we are going to use now is called Sublime Text, and it's a free and simple text editor which can help you write some lines of code. The second requirement we will need is a browser. The second requirement we will need is a browser, and the browser we will use here is Google Chrome. So you are not limited to Google Chrome. You can use any browser you want or you are comfortable of using. And just to get into action, HTML, we will have our text editor here, and we will create our first project, as I might call it. In this project, we are going to save it inside a folder. So here I am creating a folder called called tutorials here, and in this folder I'm going to create my first file, which should be .html, since all HTML files should have .html extensions. So my first file is going to be a .html. So I'll come here, then create a new document, empty document, and say that this is index.html. So index.html, after creating that file, for a learner who is using Linux, you can do that. But if you're using Windows, if you have your text editor, just to keep it simple, just open your text editor. You can see it's untitled, meaning it's blank. And I'm going to save it. If I will save it, it's going to give me this. And I want it to be under my I'll want it to be under my tutorials folder. So you can just create a directory. First, I'll delete this because, so that they don't appear to, and index.html, save, replace. So I have my file index.html. To begin with, there is a format in which any HTML, we have a HTML format that any HTML project will follow, or any HTML file will follow. And the file, if you're using a text editor such as Sublime Text, and most text editor will give you that predefined format. And with that, I'll just write HTML. We have something. It's like an IntelliSense, and it will give you the format, the HTML format, which you need for you to get started. Now, if I can take you through this format, let me save. Let me save this. And if I'll take you through this format, we have the doc type. The doc type just means the document type, which is HTML, and this is a HTML document, and this is the format HTML we have. And here we have the head. The head is all information that appear on the head of a web page. So we have this, this here you are seeing as new tab. This is the head. So all information that you will input in the head are in some of the informations that appear here on this head. We have the title. The title is the title of your web page, and we are going to write as HTML crash HTML crash course. And if we save, then we run because we want to see it in action. So we have here, and we open with Google Chrome. After opening with Google Chrome, so we should see it here. So if you can see, we have our HTML crash course here. So all these information that you normally see here written on the head or the header, they are normally on the header of the web page. They are normally written on the head tag of the HTML in the head tag under the title, because it's the title of that page. And sorry, I didn't take you through how we call these. We call these inside here tags. We have different types of tags, and I've started with, or I've began with the head tag. And just to explain that the head tag, information that we have on the head tag mostly are informations that will appear on the header of the web page. And basically this is our web page, and there is nothing on our web page, and we want to write some by the end of this tutorial, we want to make sure that we will have some content on our web page. Another information we can have here is information on the meta information, or the meta description of the page. So we normally have a tag. I would say that we call these tags. We call these as tags. And tags, we are creating these as the character set as UTF-8. That's a character set format that you need to set for under the head tag. And just before before I proceed, in our tags, you can see that we have the meta tag, and it's only one tag. It doesn't have a closing tag. Any tag we have should have an opening and closing tag. And in this tutorial, we will be using the HTML5 format. So the current version of HTML we call it HTML5. We call it HTML5. So the HTML format is what we are going to use, which is the latest version of HTML at the time of making this tutorial. So any tag we have, we must have an opening tag and a closing tag. And opening tag is any tag that we open, we must close it. And for this case, we have the doc type. The doc type, we don't need to close it. It's just explaining the document tag type, that's a HTML document type. And the HTML we have here, we have it closed inside here. So every information we will have on the web page or on the HTML product or in the HTML file, we will have them enclosed under HTML. So anything that we will write outside here or outside the HTML closing tag will not it will not be organized in the page. Yes, it will appear on the page, but it will appear in a disorganized manner. So when we do that, when we run or when we refresh, you can see what we've written. So anything that you need to do should appear inside the HTML tag. Then and in the format we have the head, and I've explained that most content of the head, we have the meta where we can set the character set to UTF-8. We have the meta where we normally have the description of the page. So meta, and we have description. We have the meta description, sorry, meta, and we give the next we can describe the page. We say name, and the name is going to be description, and under description we are describing the page, and we should have the content, and under this content we will say that this is my new project. Now we've given the description of this page. So I know you will ask yourself that why is this necessary? Why is writing all this necessary? But in a while I'll explain the importance of this. Another component of the head tag, we call it uh, we are setting the device. So we can say the meta tag, and we say HTTP equivalent, and we say X hyphen UA hyphen compatible, and the content is going to be uh, the content to be is going to be Internet Explorer Edge. Another component we have for the head tag, we call the meta tag name name viewpoint. We are setting the viewpoint, and the content of the viewpoint is we say width. Let me just have it from my cheat sheet and have it here. Most HTML layouts will give you all this information, and what you'll need to do is just start from the body tag, but we are moving there in a while. So what this one means, the description, this describes that page, and for the viewpoint, this sets the width of that page. So we are telling this web page that width is equals to device width. Take the device width and take the initial scale ratio to be 1:1, and don't shrink to fit. That's why we have shrink to fit. No, because we can have this web page shrinking in order to fit on that device width. With a device is something like a phone, an iPad, a laptop, or a desktop. So we have bigger screens and smaller screens. So it can we can have a bigger web page, but we are trying to shrink it on a small device. So we are telling it, let it use the scale 1 to 1, or meaning that one unit one unit of development is equals to 1 unit of that device width, and shrink to fit is no. And another one, now we have, this is all we can have in the meta. There are so many meta descriptions that meta informations that we can have on the page. We can have the page controlled from the meta tag. So as per now, let's just begin with this, that we need to have the page description. And the importance of page description, if you will search for any web page, let me say any website, let me just look for W3 schools. Let me have W3 schools. So when I search for W3 schools, we will have these as our search results. So we can see W3 schools online web tutorials, and we have the website https www.w3schools.com, and we have this, that W Schools is optimized for learning, testing, and training. So all this information you see here, those information were written under the description tag. So all these information were under under the meta tag, description, and the content are this. So if you leave your uh, you don't include this meta tag with the page description, then your page will don't have this description or this information. This information is normally written uh, this information is normally written under the meta description. And the title, I explained that the title is this. We have it here, and if we have our cursor here, you can see that this HTML crash course. And to move on, another component we have in the head of that HTML, in the head of that HTML file, we normally have the link tag. So at this point, we are going to learn the different types of tags that we'll have, and we'll go step by step. We are almost done with the default. We can say we normally have the default components of the head tag. Then we move to the body tag. In the body tag, everything we will write on, or any code we will write here that we want it to appear on the web page, will be under the body tag. The body tag was opened immediately after the head, and the body tag is closed. And all components of the web page, or all information we need on the web page, should appear on the body tag. So this blank page you are seeing here, if you want to have contents in it, then we'll come to content, to body, and we will write, this is my first project, and we save and just refresh. So you'll see, this is my first project. So anything we will the body tag contains everything we will need to appear on the web page. So this is the page, this blank white space, and we want to fill it now. And the body tag, the body tag is opened and is closed, but under HTML, since I said that all contents of the file must appear under HTML. Anything that you will write below HTML will appear disorganized in the web page. I want to introduce a second tag called the link tag. The link tag, if you're using a you're using a text editor, then we normally have something called it's like an autofill. In IDE we call it IntelliSense, such that it auto-completes auto-completes the line of code. So I started by writing the link and it filled up the rest. So link tag is normally used to link style sheets. It mostly appears on the head tag, and we have the head opened here, and we are linking the style sheet. The type of data that we are linking is a text or CSS. Worry not. And the href, this is where we write the link to where that file is, or that where that CSS is. So we can say that our CSS is at assets, let's say, dot assets slash style dot css. I won't talk much about CSS, and my main point is to talk about the link tag, and I've explained that the link tag is used to link CSS style sheets. Another use for the link, we can use the link to link an icon. We can use this to link an icon. So I'll just have link header icon. Rel, I'll just call this icon. I'll explain that in a short while. Icon and href. So we will not have this type. Icon for any web page. If you see here, if you check up here W3 schools, and we have something like a W3 schools logo, and when you check on our HTML crash course, we have something like a global logo. We normally call this icon header or the page icon. So how we put this is the way this is the format we use to put this. So we can change it from this default global icon to what we need. Let's say that we have our own image, and let's just look for an image, and let me just look for an image, uh, so that we can have our own icon. Uh, okay, let me just have our own image so that we can have our own icon, and let me take this. So I'll just have that, and place it under my I- I'll just transfer it under my tutorials folder. I'll just take this and transfer it here, and close that, and bring it here and close this. So we have this image. We have this image, and we want to use it as an icon. What I'll do, I'll come and copy this so that I can get the link. I'll just paste it anywhere. I paste it like that, and uh, link have that as an icon, and href, this is the link to where we have that icon. So it's under tutorials folder, and the name of that icon is google.jpeg. So we will take it from here. Since it's in the same folder, we'll only take copy and place that inside here, and delete this and delete that and save. Since our image is in the same directory, a directory is like a folder. Since our image is in the same directory as the file, we will only write the name of that image. And if we check, let's check if it has changed. So look at this. We have HTML crash course, and when we refresh, you can now see how it changed to that Google logo, HTML crash course, and that's how we add this icon you normally see. And even if I bookmark these page as these other ones are bookmarked, you will see this image will be the one appearing here instead of this default global icon. So that's the way we normally place that icon. And if you are linking, these are link tag, and the first as I say that we do use it to link style sheets, and the second is that we do use it to link icons, and we've linked a Google icon. Since it is not inside a directory, we'll just now write the name of the file. But what about if this was inside a directory? We had a directory here or a folder here that we called images, and we have this inside the folder images. If we have that inside the folder images, first we are here because this is where we are now. In order to get to that image, we'll take it from the root. So getting from the root, we do that. Then we say images. Then, so we are starting it from the root of that directory, and the root of that directory we are talking about is tutorials. So from the root of tutorials, then we move into images. Then inside images, we have the google.jpg. So that's how we navigate inside directories to get the file we need. This icon extension, it can be jpeg, it can be png, it can be svg, it can be different image formats. Yeah, but we have those specific for icons, though you can use any image format to place your icon. So if we do that, we'll just remove this since it starts from the root. The images directory is not inside any directory. It's in the root folder where we have our file index.html. So when we save that and run, if we save that and run, you can see we have it there. Before I forget, why did we name our file index.html? Any web page you will see around, the default landing page. A landing page is the first page you will meet when the website loads. So when the website loads, the first page you will encounter, we call it an index page. So when we check any page such as W3 schools, if we check any web page such as W3 schools, the landing page is normally an index page. So in any of your project, you must have an index page. If you don't have an index page, then somebody can easily browse through your files. So if we have this directory, which we are now calling tutorials, we have this directory we are calling tutorials. If we didn't have this index page, but we search for these tutorials, we would have gotten this directory called images. But since we have this index.html, it's the default page, and this is the page which is going to open. The index page will open even if it doesn't have any content. So a landing page of any website is an index page, and we will name it index.html using any file extension. So we can, if it's a HTML document, or if it's a HTML file or a HTML project, then we'll have it named as an index.html. If it's a PHP project, we'll have it named at that index.php. If it's a Java project, will have it named as index.jsp. If it's a Python project, we'll have it named as index.py. So index is the default landing page of a website, and your website must have index. Don't don't even it's the home page, but don't name it at home as home.html. If you name it as home.html, then your website or your project will lack a landing page. Now moving forward, about I've explained about this icon and extension, and the mostly recommended icon extension is we normally name it as favicon.ico. Mostly you will find as most website naming this icon as favicon.ico. So it will not be a Google, let me say your file.png or JPEG, but you can use any is allowed. You can use any, it will work for you. When I moved to the body tag, I say that the body tag hosts everything we need to have in the body, everything we need to have on the web page. So when I remove that and come back to our HTML crash course, anything we will see now appearing here is a body tag. A body is under the body tag, sorry. And in this body, for any website, for any website, forget about the styling. We just want to take it as simple as it is. So inside the body, we are going to learn at least 10 tags for you to start. The first tag we will learn is the div. And the second tag we will now div, you will use it very common. It's very common, and you will use it most of the time. Div is a container that hosts that aligns elements in a block manner. What do I mean by that? Div is a div. It is a container that hosts elements in a block manner. So let me just delete this. Let me just remove this, because anything you have to write inside here should be inside a tag. If you write anything outside a tag, then we'll have it hanging, or we'll have it disorganized. So let's say that the quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. Jumped over the lazy dog. So we have it inside a div, and if we let me just increase the size. If we refresh it, then you can see the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And the second one, we are going to have another div. No offense. We are going to have another div, and I say that all information or all that you will write must appear inside the tag, inside the opening and the closing tag. We say hello world, and the third we'll just have again copy this. We'll just have it that and save. And if we run, now this is what we have. Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Hello world. Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Now, a block elements, they appear as they appear each new element on a single line. Yes, it's like a paragraph. Each new element appears on a new line. So if we have this div, div, it contains all these elements here as a single block. So when we have even the we add some quick, if we repeat the same, if we repeat the same and have it like that, now you can see here we have them each appearing on a single line, but here we have them appearing as a continuous line, but they are under one div. So the div host elements or host contents as a block. It's a container. It hosts contents as a block. So you can see it can't move them to the new line. If you want to move it to the new line, or if you want to have them is a different line or in a different container, then you'll have to open another div. So a div hosts all elements as a block. Yes, so it's a container that can host an entire lines of code for a single element or a single section. Let me just say that, like a single section. A div normally have a sister, and that will give us a good room for comparison called span. The sister of a div is called a span. So we have to have that span. We can just move it that to new line. We do this, copy, have it here, paste. Let me just reduce this, copy, just the way we did for div. We're going to do the same for span. So we have the three quick brown frogs jumped over the lazy dog, and they are uh, in span. So when I run, you can see what's happening. So the span, it uh, is a container that contains elements. It contains elements in an inline format. Elements are inline. So you can see under the span, these elements are inline. After the end of this, we have the other one. We have the other content. After that, we have the other content. It will not move this content to another line. The div moves content to the new it moves content to a new line, but the span, it keeps those content in line. Yes, so I hope up to this point you understand the difference between the div and the span. So the div, it will host contents as block elements, but the span, it will host contents in line as in the same line. So there's some point that you'll need to have the use the div, and uh, there are some points you'll need to use to have span, and you'll use them most times in your codes. If I can clear this, we can have codes appearing inside the div, and we can have tags inside this div, and we can have tags inside the span. Span is like the mother. Span and div are like mother containers. They contain a lot. So they contain a lot of the content. So we can have other tags also inside the div and the span tag. Another one, if you can see this information, they are not organized. They are not organized. There is no spacing or vertical spacing. Oh, so when we want to give it space, we want to give a space between the div and span, the space between the tags doesn't count and it has no effect. Any space we'll have in between the tags, like we have this span tag and this span tag. If we have this space, it won't count. There is no effect. There is no effect. So if we want to give a spacing, there's no effect. So if we want to give a spacing between, let's say, hello world and quick brown, what we normally have, hello world and quick brown, yes, this, what we normally have, we use a break. tag. We have a tag called break. So a break is used to break and leave space between two contents or two elements. Now you can see a space is left. If we give another break tag, we can have as many as we want. We can have as many break tags as we want. If we do this, you can see the space is being left. In this break tag, you can see it doesn't have a closing tag. And before we go far, and I said that earlier that I'm going to explain it in due course. We normally have something called single tags and double double tags. A single tag is a tag that is opened and closed. So we have div opened and div closed. And to close a div tag, we will have that. We close a tag like this. Sorry, these are double tag. Sorry for that. These are double tag. So double tag, we have the div opened and the div closed. And for single tags, these are tags which are not, I can say they are both opened and closed at the same time. So we can have it like this. For HTML5, we normally do this. So we can have that, or we can have it just that way. And up here, we had used one single tag, which was the meta tag. So meta tag is an example of a single tag. Another one is break. Another single tag we normally have is link. I think we had used link above. So we'll just remove that. Link is a single tag. Double tags, we have div, we have paragraph p, which is used for paragraphing. It's opened and closed. We have span, we've talked about it. We have just even the head itself. I think we've seen it. We've seen the head. We have the header. We have the nav. We have here single tags. We have input. Double tag. We have script. We have a single tag. We have image. Double tag. We have header. We have h, which is used for heading. And the h can go up to h6. They normally go up to h6. h2. So at this point, note that these are outside the HTML tag. So when we run it, they'll appear disorganized. All of them have to be inside this HTML closing tag, and the HTML is also a double tag. So we have several single tags and double tags, and we normally close in HTML5. This is how we close double tags, single tags. That's how we close single tags. So this is not this a double tag, and all these are double tags. Yes. So any tag, you should know whether you're working with a single tag or a double tag. And any tag that is opened have to be closed. Most time you will find that information, we normally write content in between the opening and closing tag of double tags, but in single tags, most information are inside and usually within this tag. Like the input, which is used for form, and also here it has reminded me we have the form. Yes, and we will go through all these tags, and we'll know their uses, the use of a div, the use of of a p tag, the use of a span. We'll know everything. And up to this point, we meet again in the second part, or in the second section of HTML Crash Course for Beginners, so that we can learn more about the HTML tags, since that will be our next, that will be in our next session. Thank you for watching and have a good